Hello folks, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back. And as you can see, I have completed the RF85. We reassembled the complete rear end, the drive shafts, the suspension, and I filled up all the fluids in the gearbox. But I also installed a new muffler because the muffler that I had was causing a bit of a problem on the track. I had about 98 decibels, and in most of the tracks nowadays 95 or 92 is even the max. So I had to change out the muffler. I'm gonna fire it up in a few seconds to see if everything still runs smoothly. And here's a bit of a close-up on the rear suspension, and as you can see, we've gone through a lot of work to get it all cleaned up. The drive shafts are now nicely in place. They are re-greased and repacked with grease because it was more than necessary. And you can see the upper wishbone now been installed. What you notice as well that I have not connected yet the anti-roll bar that's just below the exhaust pipe. The reason for that is that I still have to do the alignment, the geometry, the camber and the caster, and I do not want to have my anti-roll bar active at that time. So here you see a closer look on the Hewland gearbox, the MK9, and the big bracket on the top. That's where the rear wing fits in. I have not installed the wings yet. That's something for later, because I still want to keep the car like this for a while and test it out, because if the wing is there, everything is in the way. You can see that I have my rain tires on because the last couple of weeks has been raining like hell here, so I'm planning to take it to the track for a first test run. But before I do so, I will still have to fix the carburetor because it's acting up. It's kind of dripping sometimes, and I don't like it. So it's very hard to keep the engine on a steady idle rev. Sometimes it works fine, sometimes it doesn't. So it's time to fix all that up. And here you see the oil pump, and it's a 3-stage pump, as you can tell. I'm still having a mechanical RPM meter, and I probably should remove that. You can see that it's attached to the back of that oil pump. It might be better with an electronic one, so that might be something I'm still going to fix or install very soon. The car, of course, is now from the ground. I lifted it up, but I'll drop it down in a few seconds, and then we're gonna refill it with fresh fuel. But you can see that everything is tightly fit together now. Yep, and every so often I use tie wraps, and these brake lines will still be routed through that rear wing as soon as that rear wing is up. But right now I can't, so I temporarily placed them in place with some tie wraps. And I also installed new foams on the shock absorber. On the bottom you can see the starter engine. And in essence, I should now be ready to start filling it up with fresh oil. But before I do so, I'm going to fix that hose. Remember that I had a fuel leak? Well, it was the hose that was actually leaking. You know, the fuel nowadays is pretty weird fuel. It's no more like the fuel in the old days. So I changed the hose as well. So I'm using a Motul oil 300V, which is an ester-based oil for competition, and it's an SAE 15W50. I pour in about 5 liters, but I always double check in the oil reservoir to see how much oil there is in it. I like to keep it about 2.5 to 3 centimeters over the bridge of the shaft, and that's typically quite alright. So around 4.5 to 5 liters is just good enough. And now it's time for a little test run and see how it starts. But you'll notice I might have to work a bit on the carburetor. So thank you for viewing, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.